I felt the weight of chains dragging across my chest. Not from the heart attack, I was already gone by then. No, this was something deeper. Something colder. I wasn't falling. I was being pulled. And I heard them, voices, thousands of them. Some screaming. Some laughing. Some whispering my name. Then a figure emerged through the fire. Cloaked. Massive. Eyes like burning coal. And it leaned in and said, "You didn't believe in hell, Robert. So we brought you here, to show you. What would you do if hell wasn't a punishment, but just the beginning of a deal?" Before I continue, thank you to everyone who's been sharing these experiences. If you've ever felt something beyond this life, you're not alone. These stories help others feel seen, and maybe, even warned. My name is Robert Callahan. I'm 52. I work in commercial real estate just outside Chicago. For most of my adult life, I was a proud, loud atheist. I didn't believe in heaven. Definitely didn't believe in hell. I'd say things like, "When I die, just toss me in the dirt." I grew up Catholic, but after my dad died when I was 16, I started hating the idea of a merciful God. It didn't make sense. Never did. So I rejected it all. I had a good life, I guess. Married, 2 kids. A house in the suburbs. But beneath the surface, I was running. I drank too much. Cheated once. And I treated people like chess pieces. Cold and calculated. Success was my God, and I worshipped it 80 hours a week. Then came the night, my body gave up. It was a Sunday. I had just finished a big meal, steak, potatoes, red wine. Sitting on the couch watching reruns when I felt a sharp stab across my chest. Like lightning caught in my ribcage. My fingers went numb. Then my arms. I staggered up, knocking over the glass. My wife screamed. I remember her voice like it was coming from underwater. I collapsed near the dining room table. My vision blurred, and then, nothing. No tunnel. No light. Just silence. Then suddenly, motion. I wasn't in my body anymore. But I could feel something pulling me, down. Not floating. Not peaceful. Just, down. Like an invisible chain wrapped around my soul. The air became hot. Then unbearable. Like breathing through boiling oil. I opened my eyes, if you can call them that. And I saw it. A canyon of flame and bone, stretching forever. Souls suspended in walls, screaming. There were creatures, twisted forms, with melted faces and wings of smoke. One of them turned to me and smiled. A voice said, "You denied him. You mocked him. You led others astray. Welcome." I screamed. I don't even know if it was sound, but something inside me shattered. Then he came. A figure cloaked in shadows. Towering. He said, "You still have one chance. But it will come at a cost." I begged. I wept. I swore I'd change. And then. I woke up. Flatlined for 4 minutes and 22 seconds. The doctors said it was a miracle. But I didn't feel saved. I felt, watched. I came back gasping. Eyes wide. Chest heaving. Tubes in my throat. My wife shrieked, and the nurses rushed in. The beeping on the monitor was erratic, like my heart wasn't sure it wanted to stay. But I was alive. And that should have been the good news. Only, it didn't feel good. Not even close. The room was freezing. But I was drenched in sweat. The light felt too bright, like I'd been living in a cave. And behind every noise, every voice, every beep, every distant footstep, I heard something else. A whisper. Something had followed me back. At first, the doctors chalked it up to trauma. You were technically dead for over 4 minutes, Mr. Callahan, they said. You're bound to have some disorientation. Maybe even hallucinations. Hallucinations? That word sounded safe. Comfortable. But that wasn't what this was. This wasn't a dream. It started the first night back home. My wife, Allison, had finally fallen asleep beside me. She had been strong through the whole thing, stronger than I deserved. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it again, the flames, the screaming faces, the cloaked figure. But around 3 a.m., I felt something else. The air changed. The room grew thick, like I was breathing in smoke. And then, my bedroom door creaked open. No footsteps. No shadows. Just the door, inching slowly by itself. I sat up, sweating. Hello? I whispered. No answer. But in the silence, I heard it again. That whisper. My name. Robert. Soft. Cold. Like ice melting across my spine. I got up, flicked on every light in the room. Nothing. No one. But deep inside, I knew, it was here. The next few days were worse. I'd wake up with scratches down my arms. No blood, just red marks that stung like they'd been burned. My dog, a golden retriever named Max, refused to come near me. He'd growl low in his throat whenever I entered a room. He even peed on the floor once. Max had never done that in all his 10 years. My phone rang at odd hours. No number. No voice. Just a low hiss. And then there were the mirrors. Whenever I looked in one, just for a second, only for a second, I'd see something behind me. Not a person. Not exactly. A shadow. Tall. Still. Watching. I tried to talk to Allison. Told her I was seeing things. Hearing whispers. She smiled and said it was just my brain trying to make sense of what happened. She even scheduled a therapist for me. Robert, she said, gently, you died. That changes people. You're going to be okay. But that's the thing. I wasn't changing. I was being haunted. The therapist, Dr. Albright, was nice. Mid-50s, glasses, soft voice. She asked me to describe what I saw while I was gone. So I told her. Everything. The screaming canyon. The demons. The cloaked figure. The choice. She nodded and took notes. Then she said something that chilled me to the bone. Mr. Callahan, do you think what you saw was hell? Or something pretending to be hell? That shook me. Something pretending. Why would something pretend to be hell? Unless it wanted me to believe it. Unless, it was trying to reach me. She leaned forward. And what do you think came back with you? I didn't know what to say. That night, I had a dream. No, not a dream. It was too real. I was back in the canyon. Except this time. I wasn't alone. There was a child standing next to me. A little girl. Her face was burned beyond recognition. But her eyes, they were human. She pointed at me and screamed. You said God wasn't real. I believed you. And now look where I am. I woke up screaming, clawing at my own face. Allison cried. She wanted me to go back to the hospital. But I refused. Because I knew now. This wasn't trauma. This was punishment. Over the next week, my body started to change. I couldn't stand the daylight anymore. My skin felt like it was being peeled in the sun. And sometimes, I'd hear voices inside my head. Not just whispers now. Full sentences. You still owe us. You were marked. One life doesn't come back without another going in its place. I started avoiding people. Stopped answering calls. Lost my job. But the worst part? My youngest son, Jacob, 8 years old, started talking to someone in his room. I saw Daddy's tall friend again, he said once at breakfast. He stands in the corner at night. He told me not to tell you. I dropped my spoon. What did he look like? Jacob smiled. Like he's wearing smoke. That was it. I knew what followed me back. And it wasn't done yet. From the story, Dragged to Hell, what I saw while I was dead. Written in plain, gripping language to keep your audience glued. I used to laugh at religious people. Preachers. Believers. People who said there was a heaven or a hell. I thought, what a joke. Now. I know the joke was on me. Because whatever deal I thought I didn't make when I was dead. I was wrong. Someone, or something, made it for me. And now it's time to pay. It started with the markings. I'd wake up with new ones. Deep red symbols burned into my chest and stomach. They weren't scratches anymore. These were patterns, circles, lines, ancient shapes I didn't recognize. I showed a picture of them to Dr. Albright, my therapist. Her face went pale. She asked to excuse herself for a moment. I watched her through the office window. She was on the phone, whispering frantically to someone. When she returned, she said, I think we need help from someone, outside medical science. She gave me the number of a former Catholic priest turned spiritual counselor. His name was Father Damien. I didn't believe in any of that, but I was desperate. The first time I met Father Damien, he didn't ask any questions. He just looked at me, really looked at me, and said, You shouldn't be here. Your soul's path was interrupted. Someone or something pulled you back, but not for free. I asked what that meant. He said, You made a bargain. Even if you didn't realize it. The price must be paid. But I didn't make a deal. I snapped. I never said yes. He looked at me, eyes full of sadness. You didn't have to say yes. Silence is enough in their world. That night, I had the worst vision of my life. I was paralyzed in bed. Couldn't move. Couldn't scream. The room was black, but not empty. The tall, smoke-wrapped figure stood at the foot of my bed. But this time, he spoke. His voice was ancient. Cold. Like stone grinding on stone. You were spared, Robert Callahan. A soul for a soul. But the balance has not been kept. I whimpered. Whose soul? He stepped closer. I couldn't breathe. He said. Your son. That was it. That was the price. I was supposed to die, but I came back. So now Jacob, my 8-year-old boy, was the one marked to go in my place. I lost it. I screamed, fought the air, tore through my house like a man possessed. Allison tried to hold me down. What is happening to you? But I couldn't tell her. I wouldn't drag her into this darkness. Not her. Not Jacob. So I did the only thing I thought might work. I went back to Father Damien. And I begged. I begged for a way to save my son. We began the ritual at midnight. Candles. Symbols. Sacred words. Prayers I'd never heard before. He poured holy oil on my forehead. He chanted Latin that made the walls shake. And then, just before 3 a.m., the temperature in the room dropped to freezing. The candles went out. And the whispering began. But not just one voice now. Hundreds. Thousands. Screaming. Laughing. Cursing. Father Damien collapsed. He held his chest, gasping, "It's too strong. You brought something too old." The smoke figure rose from the floor, growing taller and darker. It bent its head toward me. "You cannot stop what's owed." I screamed back, "Take me, damn it. Take me instead." It paused. For the first time, it hesitated. Then it whispered, "There is another way." The ground split open. A fiery crack. And I saw them. Other souls. Lost ones. Screaming. Twisting in agony. And then, I saw someone I recognized. My father. He had died of an overdose 15 years ago. We hadn't spoken in years. He looked at me, eyes empty. Skin gray. Lips cracked. He said, "Save your son, Rob, but don't forget, you belong here." The demon offered me a choice. Trade your future. Let him live. But you will belong to us, the moment your heart stops again. No priest. No prayers. No light. Only flame. I said yes. I didn't hesitate. If my boy lives, I'll burn. The next morning, Jacob woke up. All the shadows were gone. The markings vanished from my body. Father Damien wouldn't speak to me again. He said I was touched by a curse deeper than any exorcism could clean. He told me to get my affairs in order. He knew what I already felt. My clock is ticking. Since then, I've been counting every heartbeat. I don't sleep much. When I do, I feel the heat rising under my bed. I hear chains dragging. Sometimes I wake up choking on smoke that isn't there. And I know. The moment my heart stops again, whether it's tomorrow or 20 years from now, I won't be going to a hospital. I won't be seeing a light. There will be no choice this time. Just darkness. Just fire. And screams that never end. Did Robert make the right decision? Would you trade your soul to save your child? Or was it all a vivid hallucination, a desperate dream? Share your thoughts below. And if you've ever had a near-death experience, we want to hear it. White heavy checkmark. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes, when you come back, you don't come back alone.